Cool. I just pinged them in here, but I'll record this for him too. So you guys have a construction company or a concierge thing?
Yeah, so really what we're doing is we're in the business of partnering with different real estate agents. If they have customers and clients who have a home that just needs some love, needs some repair before they can put it on the market, similar to concierge, but much more of a personal touch. Because as we'll get through the presentation, we'll see that we have multiple options to be able to kind of meet the customer where they are. So it's not in a situation where we're looking just to come in. Hey, John, how you doing?
Hey, I'm just jumping in here late. Sorry. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you, man. Yeah, I was just telling Kenny a little bit about what we're doing at Homeworx, really working with our agents and their clients so that they can really take control of their equity. If they have a home it's a nice place, nice location, but they just haven't been able to put any work into it, we'll come in and partner with them so they can really let their equity go to work with them.
It's hailing in Oakland out of nowhere. It's like I haven't seen this before in a while. So I hear ice. Okay.
That's crazy.
Welcome to global warming.
The sprinkling is like a full blown hailing. It's like I was like, what's that sound? My window's broken.
Listen, John. John Gomez says global warming doesn't exist.
Hail does.
Yeah. So I've heard a lot about you and your team. And I know that just kind of reviewing with Jonna, she had told me that you guys have probably seen other companies like Curbio, things like that, who are in a similar type of business. And I think that they have a really robust plan. The difference is there's kind of a lacking in personal touch, and they're very expensive. So I think that's one of the things that we're looking to do is really make sure that you understand that this is something that we're looking to do. Of course, it's a transaction. We're in a transactional business. We want to make money, but ultimately this is going to be where people are raising their kids. They've raised families. We want to make sure that they're able to get the most for it. So if it's up to you and we're recording, I'll jump right into the presentation. I appreciate you guys taking time with us. And once again, I'm Eric Barnes. I've got Jonna Cloud. She's also one of your EXP sisters from the Seattle and Bay Area market. We've got Kelly Jackson, and we'll probably have one other of our team members kind of jumping on board to share. But I'll share my screen. And just one second. Pull that up.
Do you need to be co-host? You're good.
I think we should have it. Actually, I might need to be co-host to share the screen.
I turned screen sharing on. Should be able to share.
There we go. Perfect. Cool. So everyone should be able to see our partnership with eXp Realty. And once again, what we do at Homeworx is we want to make sure that we're working for you and your team and their customers so they really understand that when it comes down to really making their property shine, they have an advocate. And ultimately for you, Kenny, and your team, that you have a partner when it comes to deals. We're like, man, this is a really great location, but it just needs some love, needs some TLC. Our goal is always to make sure that the agent is shining. People also say rock star, but being that I'm from Oakland, I say, country star, hip hop star, trap star, whatever star you want. That's what we want your clients to view you as their personal advocate. So when we go through the process, Homeworx is going to be your value improvement partner, which means that we're going to work out the plan and the budget so that the homeowner can approve the bid and timing, and recognize that this is going to be something different than their dream makeover. We're not going to be looking to import the Italian marble. We're going to really look to bring in fixtures that are appropriate for the market and appropriate for the home, meeting the customer where they are as far as their budget. So if some customers have a huge budget, some people have none, we want to be able to find all of the ways that we can cover the cost of the improvements, really let the house pay for the work. And please, once again, if I didn't mention this in the beginning, this is totally interactive. You guys stop me if you have any questions. Please feel free to jump in if something doesn't make sense. the goal of today is to make sure you understand that you have a vehicle with us to really move your process forward so that you're not stopped by work that needs to be done. That being said, all of our vendors are quality, they're licensed. If there needs to be a general contractor, we can work with them that way. But in case the work does not need a GC, then all of our vendors have work warranties, and we've had good relationships in the past. And then you don't have to go chasing after vendors. You don't have to reach out to your team, hitting them on a text message. Hey, do you know a plumber? Do you know a painter? We'll manage the entire project from start to finish. The goal is to make sure the home looks amazing when it's done. So we break it into 3 phases. The first phase is we want to create a current value. So we'll use either a BPO or license appraisal to make that happen. Our second phase is to go into the project plan. And that's where we'll do a walkthrough to come up with an estimated cost by our project manager so they can be approved by the homeowner with a letter of intent. The reason that we signed that letter of intent is so the contractor or vendors are not wasting time going out if there's no agreement. We want everyone to be aligned on the same goal of making sure that the house comes out sparkling by the time that it's done, being ready to be put on the market. Part of that process also is doing just basic punch list of things that an inspector would be on the look for. So that way, when things are done, we can go through the inspection process as quickly as possible so that we can get the house on the market and meet that timing. And then, of course, whatever we have agreed to as far as billing will be handled in that statement of work also. The third phase is that the work begins. Yeah, let's get it started. So this is where the client will get a portal where they'll have access to all of the finishes that are being put in. They'll have access to the activity that's going on with their particular project. And what this does is just create transparency. One of the things that we've noticed is that oftentimes communication can get lost in the ether. You have people that are on varying sides of technology, depending on the type of buyer. If you're dealing with an older buyer, they may not be used to sending emails, or they might still have a flip phone. But once again, we want to give them as many touch points so they can understand what's going on with their home at all times. They don't have to rely on us to give them a phone call, which we will. But if they're having sleepless nights and they want to see what happened with the work today, they can log onto that portal and see exactly what's happened in that day. One of the main differentiators with us also is that typically when you have other companies that are looking to come in and do work and co-sharing, they'll get the house on the market, but they're not going to be able to really go the final stage, which is going to be the photos, the videos, the drone shots, and also the staging. So our team takes care of all of that, and all of that, once again, is going to be billed into that statement of work. So I have 3 different examples of homes that we've done. You'll have 2 that are in Seattle, one's in the Bay Area. This is 411 Ward. So before, you can see that the home was, it's a great location, great neighborhood. If you're familiar with the Seattle area, it's in Lower Queen Anne. As is, we valued it at $1.1 million. But the owner had a budget of $85,000, and she wanted to make sure that the house, the true potential, was able to come out with it. So you can see that we immediately got busy. We got into taking care of the bathrooms and the flooring, and you can even see our girl, Jana, over there hustling, putting down the new vents and new flooring. And transformation, look at that, a gain of $405,000. Our team was able to knock out the exterior paint, the landscaping. As you can see from the drone shots, we took care of that. But also, I think this is one of the things that was most dramatic about that. The floors were really dark. We were able to refinish those, able to refinish the mantle to really bring it back to its luster. And then everything you see in there was all staged by Homeworx. So once again, from start to finish, and really making sure that the property was not just done right, but done on time and really done on budget. Going to our next property, this is in Alameda, California, 1509 Benton. So the customer had a Victorian, they had budget and a little bit of credit. And as you can see, they had a lot of just living issues. If any of you have dogs, sometimes your dogs will take a little bite out of the baseboard. This seemed to have been happening for several years because they had several nicks and scratches, also some chips in the bathroom. So what we wanted to do was come in, and after we set the value, we came up with a budget of $75,000 to be able to take care of the landscaping, the floors, the interior, and the paint. What we noticed, because one of the things as will happen is that no two jobs are alike, and you will run into situations where there'll be ad work. So this is a perfect situation. Once we got into the roof, we noticed that the work had been done, but there was no plywood under the shingles. So we created a ad work slip that we sent over to the buyer for their review, and they came back with a budget to get that roof, almost had to get the roof completely redone. So it changed our timeline, it changed the budget, but you can see at the end, there was still a huge transformation as far as being able to get that house in the market for $264,000 gain. And one of the cool things about this also is that you can see once again from the landscaping, the painting, it not only brought up the value of this particular home, but it made the agent look like a complete professional, just completely handled this entire process. And once again, all of the staging and finishing was done by Homeworx. Finally, we'll have our example at 5019. This is in Linwood, Washington. Now, this home is typical with some homes that we'll see in the Bay Area, probably more so in Oakland, maybe El Sobrante, Pinole, where you have customers who have lived there for 30 years, but they just haven't done a lot to it. Maybe life's gotten in the way, maybe someone's gotten sick and needed TLC. Now, this home was on the corner of a cul-de-sac. All of the other properties had work done. And this was kind of the last home that really just needed some tough love with it. And as a matter of fact, the kitchens, this was after the countertop was laid, but the kitchen cabinets, man, we tried everything to get the grease out of that. It took us a long time to get that work done. Now, this particular client, they had no budget. They had none. So what Homeworx did was we invested into that property. We billed to escrow $60,000. We came to them with the ad as its value of $540,000. And we went to work. After everything was done, the listing agreement, you can see once again, Jonna out there, she always has to be the star king. She's in there, she's power washing, she's throwing garbage out. She just has to be in all of the videos. But we got busy. And despite the fact, like you were talking about hail in Oakland right now, because the weather is changing, sometimes you'll have difficulties. So we took that into account, still got the work done. As you can see, the house was completely transformed. A $60,000 gain was, after the home was sold, the homeowner had $60,000 extra, which we split as an equity co-share. So $30,000 of that went to the customer, $30,000 of that went to Homeworx. Why is that important? Because typically, if an investor is going to come to a homeowner where they see, okay, this property is run down, maybe I can get them at 20% under what the value is, and then I will take all the equity. We believe that the homeowner should have the right to be able to work with their equity as much as possible. And so that's what we did. And as you can see, the house came out beautifully. Look at that kitchen. Awesome work done, high quality, done on time. And the cool thing about this location is that it not only brought out all of the good effort from the homeowner and from Homeworx and our agent, but the agent became a star in the neighborhood. People were coming up and saying, well, who are you working with? Matter of fact, there was a couple who lived across the street, and part of their job of what they do is they flip homes. But they were like, who did all this for you? Who did the staging? Who did the landscaping? Who handled this for you? So the transformation was impressive. I won't go into the video because of timing, but this is what we do. This is Homeworx. And right now we're working with EXP teams in Washington, Seattle. We're working with the Colhane Group out of Scottsdale, Arizona. We have some teams with Redfin that we're working with. And we just got finished working with one of your team members, Steffi. She's got a home in the Bayview that they just got finished talking with the seller about. So we're already working with your team. We'd love to have the opportunity to put this out to the rest of your team so that they understand that we have crews standing by. We have the experience, and really, we just want to make sure that there's we take away any and all opportunities for someone to say, hey, I'm not ready to put my house in the market. All right. Did you guys have any questions for me?
I mean, it's very straightforward. One thing with Kirby, again, is really expensive. Nurture source design, we worked with a couple times, very, very expensive, but we had really great results. So looking for, again, I think I'm more interested in what pricing will actually end up at. And do you guys handle all the project management, or have someone on staff that visits the property frequently?
Yeah, all the faces that you see here, we have our team, plus we have some other folks. Matter of fact, one of our project managers walked the property with Steffi to be able to get that done. So we want to make sure that it's appropriate. And because we do have the relationships with our team, you're not always going to be paying just outrageous prices. And of course, we'll put all of that to the seller and the agent so they can present that all as one packet.
Cool.
So that's a very good question.
What's the procedure like? We meet a client, we see their house. Do we just give you a call or text and then you know about a potential project? We want someone to come, the seller sign off on something first, and then you guys come take a look at it.
Yeah. And matter of fact, if your dogs have calmed down, I'll let you answer that question.
Sorry, home office business here. Yeah, the best thing is that this is so simple that I go over the bullet list, the bullet points with my client. If they're interested, then I'll schedule something with the project manager to walk through. That way they can get the punch list ready. They can, kind of get an overview of what they feel would bring the most value. And again, we're not trying to upsell on a full remodel. We're always trying to make it to whereas it's the best possible material at the best pricing. And so, once the project manager walks through, gives us the punch list, that's the time where the seller really has the opportunity to decide how to best go about it. Most people let me put it this way. Most people would rather take the time to get their property move-in ready or turnkey than to risk the time being on the market and not really ready to sell and not, get that offer within the first, 14 days. They would rather take the 14 to 21 days, which is, to me, the bigger jobs here take a little bit longer, but the smaller, more common jobs take about 2 weeks, right? And so I'd rather be off market, take 2 weeks to get it totally ready. And as soon as it comes on market, you're like, we gotta set an offer date because we're already got 20 people ready to make an offer, which is what we're finding is the real risk when you don't do the list prep, when you don't get it turnkey.
Right. And then also for your team, Kenny, we're not looking for them to sell this or present it. We have about a 7-minute video that we have that's in Prezi, that's all voice narrated, that they can put right into High Note as part of their listing presentation. So, once again, try to make everything really simple, really high level so that it's easy enough for the homeowner to be able to see and your agents just to be able to show them like, here's an option for you to be able to get your home on the market as quickly as possible for the top dollar.
So how does it work? So as far as I think the where this will come in handy the most is where people need that built to escrow feature and don't have because we do this listing prep stuff all the time and the agents will help coordinate it. And I think what we kind of could use as a solution for we know if we spend $25,000 on it, we could, double that, but we just don't have the $25,000 up front to do it. How is your fees structured, when you're doing built to escrow work?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll go ahead and have Jonna answer that one. And I want to have Jonna answer that one because she's actually done it with her customers, so she can give you the feedback on what their experience was also.
I think it all hinges, for Mike up in Linwood, it hinged on what the as-is value was because we're agreeing to split the difference. So the house is paying for the work, the house is paying, they automatically get that as-is price. So it's almost like you're guaranteed the as-is price. The house is paying for the work and then you split the difference. So, I have found that it's best that usually runs into in the Bay Area that anybody that has a home million plus, they've got some way to figure out how to do their budget. But if it's a probate or if it's a deal where it was kind of an investment, they're not living in it, they could also apply for credit. But if they really just don't have either of those as options, this is really good. Most of the time we're negotiating on what is the as-is price because that lets you know how much you're splitting in the end. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So for most of your business, so it's not necessarily what you're really kind of going for isn't necessarily like a Compass concierge, like use the equity of your home. It's really more of the like all-in-one project management. That's kind of what you're selling, not necessarily you don't need to put any money up front. You will do that, but what your primary kind of service and business model is the all-in-one project management, getting the vendors, coordinating, getting the staging, like from all of the listing prep. Is that correct?
Yeah, across the board.
Right.
The board, I was involved in all three of the examples, and across the board, it works whichever way. And that's the great thing about it. You have each option is available, depending on what the seller needs.
And in all those, are they paying you? Are they paying Homeworx, or are they paying like the vendor? If you're coordinating the project, are they paying the vendors individually, or are they paying you and then you're paying the vendors?
They pay Homeworx, and then we pay all of our vendors. So once again, it just takes away the pressure of the agent or the homeowner trying to navigate, negotiate all that stuff. They just pay one person, and then we take care of all the rest. So to go back to your original question, John, it's not necessarily like Compass or like concierge. It's much more personal than that, because we want to make sure that everyone has input into it. This is not just a static plan that we're coming and saying, okay, well, here's the option. You have to take this, or just go find another agent. We want to make sure that wherever the customer is, no budget, some budget, that we can find them so that it works for you.
Got it.
Yeah. Perfect. So
I just had
please.
Hey, I just had a quick question on the side. Do the clients have the ability to work with preferred vendors, or say a local lighting shop if they wanted to incorporate something in their design? Or do you guys have specific vendors or retailers that you work with, obviously, to maximize the profit and minimize your costs for doing such, a project?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So if I'm hearing you correctly, does the homeowner have any say about who we work with and who we'll work through? And that's absolutely yes. So if they have someone who's expert at lighting, or someone in finishing or something like that, that's totally fine. What we want to do is use all of that input so that we can make it look good for them and they're comfortable with it. And then what we would probably do after that is just come to an agreement with whatever vendor, so that they knew that if there weren't going to be multiple people that have conversations with as far as payment, we would just pay them directly. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. No problem. So I appreciate your time. So like I said, we'd love to be able to work with you. My name is Eric. I can leave my information in the chat. And going back to your question, Kenny, if you have customers who are ready, you can email, you can text, you can phone, you can hit me on Instagram, throw up a pigeon. I don't, two-way is probably a little bit too old for you guys, but two-way was big back when I was younger. So no, but all joking aside, we want to make sure that you guys know that you have a quality partner, and that we're really looking to do this so that the value comes out. I can't tell you how many referral deals have come from us doing these projects. It really just takes another added step out. So I'll put my information in the chat, and I'll also send over the 7-minute recorded Prezi. I'll get you, if it's okay with you, Kenny, I can get your email from Jana. I'll send you over our 6 to 7 minute Prezi so that you guys can use that in your listing presentation. And then we can go from there. Love to work with you guys.
Yeah, it all looks really good.
Awesome. Hey, well, thank you so much for your time. If you guys have any questions, feel free to give us a call. All right.
Do you guys work with Side Real Estate? Because they just launched a program too, like this for their agents. Side.
We have not worked with Side, but if Side, we're agnostic when it comes to our clients. Well,
my girlfriend's at Side. They
okay.
just launched a program where they'll share the equity and they'll do the work too. It just launched last month. So
Yeah.
I guess everyone's fighting in space.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you this really quickly, and I want to be respectful of your time. But one of the things that COVID has really done, it made people think about two things. Number one, do I want to stay in California? And if not, then what changes do I need to make so that I can go somewhere else and get the most money for that? So I think we were looking at the stats, and there's like the home remodeling landscape is like 15% higher this year and another 5% next year. So it's a huge market. The difference that you'll see, and I don't know much about Sides Project, but I have seen other companies, is that they spend a lot of time on their marketing. So they'll market the product and say, this is what we're doing. And so you agents go do it. You go sell it. Go sell concierge, go sell this rehab model. And then when they do have the project, now they're scrambling for vendors because you don't have a relationship. So once again, we've done it the opposite way. You know, we've gone and put, you know, our hands in the dirt and got dirty and said, okay, we have the vendor relationships, and now, you know, we can focus on really making sure that we're dealing with real people.
Cool.
Cool. Awesome. Hey, well, thanks so much for your time, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Cool.
thanks,
Great time,
Eric.
guys.
Appreciate
Awesome.
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you very much. You guys have a great week. All right.
You too.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
Okay.
Take care. Bye
Bye.
now.
Bye.